Day 16 of excavation. I have found enough gold that I may now be coming to an end of my work here. It is fortunate I did not spend the time alone. Every day so far has been pleasant enough with my companion. He goes by Mr. Y, and I Mr. X. Though he will soon depart, we shared something that I must admit has awoken something inside of me. It is my uncivilized ego, the barbarian that does not recognize conventions. It is, dare I say, my criminal will and inability to calculate the consequences of my deeds. Now, I am at a crossroads with my wife. Well, he couldn't incriminate me if he tried. Soon, I will be free.
What oppressive heat. Surely we'll have a thunder shower.
Yes. What makes you think so?
The bells sound like it. Flies bite so, as you are off on your travels again tomorrow. It is not to be wondered at if you have the knapsack fever. Here's the post. I get palpitation of the heart every time I open a letter. It's always debts. Did you ever have any debts?
No. Not really.
Well, then, of course, you don't understand what it feels like to have unpaid bills come in, the rent owing, the landlord clamoring. And I, sitting up to my elbows in gold. Here is 6,000 crowns worth of gold I've dug up in 2 weeks. Finally, I shall be able to pay off my debts and reacquire my practice.
Are you not afraid of being found out?
Don't you think a man of my intelligence would be able to manage it so that I wouldn't be found out?
So you're saying that intelligence and ambition can grant pardon where need could not?
Yes, that is what it is. Nevertheless, need should be the strongest motive, the only one to be pardoned. But that can change as little as my will not to steal under any condition.
So you count it a great virtue that you cannot, steal.
There is no virtue. I cannot do it, and they cannot help doing it. You understand, of course, that the idea of wanting to possess this gold is not lacking in me. Why don't I do it? I can't. It's an inability. The gold belongs to the bank, and a lack is not a virtue. And there you are. How close it is. I think we'll have some thunder after all. Are you afraid of thunder?
One should be too careful.
You are a queer fellow. At first sight, you struck here like a bomb and introduced yourself as a migrant collecting insects for a museum.
Don't bother about me.
That's what you always say when I get tired of talking about myself and want to devote a little attention to you. Do you know, as you sit there and I see your back, you look as if you carried a burden. You look as if you were flinching from a lash. That one looked like it struck the sheriffs. Come now, have a seat. Let's talk as you were off on your travels again tomorrow.
How did you develop an eye for people's conduct? You practice law and you seem to be a man of moral values. Are you a Christian?
Of course I couldn't be. The Christians demand forgiveness, but I demand punishment for the restoration of balance, or whatever you like to call it. And you who have served time ought to understand that.
How do you know that?
It's plain to be seen.
How can you see it?
I have taught myself. But we won't get into that matter. I must think about my muddled affairs now. Would you be so kind as to witness my signature on this note, which I must leave at the bank when I take there with you tomorrow morning?
I don't sign my name to papers.
Anymore. That is the 5th time you have refused to write your name. The first time was on a postal receipt. And now I see that you have a horror of touching pen and paper. Do you see now how I have figured out your misstep? Do you see now that it is not that I am so clever, but that you are so stupid?
Now you hate me.
No.
Yes, you do. You must.
No. See. Here. My hand. Will you tell me how it happened?
I was a student at a university, and I needed a loan. Of course, you understand how hard it is for gentlemen like us to secure proper financing. Anyway, I sent a note to a man whom I wanted to have sign as a second security, a guarantor. And contrary to all my expectations, the letter was returned to me with a refusal. It was a very disagreeable surprise. Very disagreeable. The note lay before me on the table, and the letter of refusal right next to it, and my eyes glanced over those fateful lines which contained my sentence. I had the pen in my hand, like this. And before I knew it, I started to write. And I don't want to say that there was anything mystical or spiritualistic about it, because Lord knows I don't believe in such things. It was purely a thoughtless, mechanical action when I sat there and copied that beautiful autograph. It's almost as if I was fulfilling some divine purpose. What could such a thing be? Inspiration? My uncivilized ego? The barbarian who emerged with his evil conventions and his inability to calculate his own deeds? What do you think?
To be honest, your story doesn't quite convince me. But don't you think each one of us has a skeleton in their closet? I killed a man once, and I never had any scruples.
How did you get away with it?
There were no accusers, no suspicions, no witnesses. One Christmas, a friend of mine had invited me for a few days hunting just outside of Fredericksburg. He sent for an old servant to come get me. He fell asleep on the driver's seat and drove us into a gatepost, which landed us in the ditch. It wasn't out of danger for myself, but out of a fit of anger, I struck him a blow to wake him up, with the results that he never awakened again. He died on the spot.
And you didn't turn yourself in?
The man had no relatives or other connections who were dependent on him, while I, on the other hand, am indispensable to the happiness of my parents, who took a risk adopting me, a foreign child, and paid handsomely for my education. Through the outcome of the affair, I was cured of any desire to strike any more blows, and to fulfill an abstract justice, I did not care to ruin the lives of my parents as well as my own.
It is 2 years hard labor for homicide, just as much as it is for forgery. And here sits a man, a victim of an accident, an unconscious suggestion, and forced to suffer 2 years of hard labor. I can wipe out the stain that I have unwittingly brought upon myself but only through scientific achievement. And for that attainment, I need money. Much money. And immediately. Don't you think it fair that the unpunished one can restore the balance of human relations and be sentenced to pay a tolerable fine? Don't you think so?
Do you allude to me?
Yes.
No.
It is a crime.
Accident is not a crime.
It is a crime to commit murder. It is to me that you are to pay that fine.
Will you force me to become a murderer?
You can't shoot me, you warped creature.
Think if I've dealt with you the way that I dealt with the servant!
No, you can't, because you are too cowardly. Just as you were too cowardly to admit to your wife that she is married to a murderer, cheater, and a thief.
You were a different kind of being than me. Whether stronger or weaker, it doesn't concern me. You are the stupider. That's proven. Because you were stupid when you forged a man's name, instead of begging as I have had to do. You were stupid when you stole out of my journal. Don't you realize I read and write my journals? You're stupid when you thought that you were more intelligent than me, and that you could force me into confessing myself. And you were most stupid when you thought that I have built my life's happiness without having laid the cornerstone securely.
You dare not have me killed. So you have to let me go. And when I am gone, I will do as I please.